What's going on, legend, and welcome to video 3 of our MyFitnessPal tutorial series. Really hope you've enjoyed it so far and that you're getting excited to make MyFitnessPal as part of your life as it comes to, just really maximizing the flexible dieting journey. So one of the things that you should have done so far is obviously set up MyFitnessPal, gotten it all sorted in terms of overriding the shitty basic settings that MyFitnessPal has. Secondly, what you should be doing is getting familiar with just how to log food and how to be able to make it yours. Obviously, of course, amongst all of this, you should have added myself personally and the other legends in the group as well. And what we're going to be doing here in this video is just going through a few little cool hacks and things that you should take into account when it comes to actually using MyFitnessPal to be able to actually dominate your journey. So let's bring on some screen record action. We're going to bring up, ta-da, my screen as I use MyFitnessPal on my phone. So let's rock and roll with that. Now, first thing we're going to be talking about is when it comes to actually, I guess, how to ensure that you're always accurate with logging your food. Obviously, as you would remember in the last video where I showed you, you can either scan a barcode and enter the servings, or you can just be, selecting something that is in its raw form that allows you to be able to enter in the weight. This applies to, so obviously in that scenario I did it for a banana, a piece of fruit. The same would apply for, say, for example, some meat. So let's say, for example, that we're having some chicken breast, right? Let's say that we're doing that. Now, we want to find one that allows us to be able to, we just want chicken breast, there we go, raw, see, bazinga. So we want this one. Now, when it comes to actually entering meat, you should ideally, if possible, be entering it while it's in its raw form, because obviously when you cook it, it loses some water weight and stuff like that. We want to make sure that we're accurate. So let's say, for example, here that we are, having some chicken. Let's say that it's 150 grams, so we'll do 1.5. Right, there we go, bazinga, 35 grams of protein pretty much, happy days. Now, let's say, for example, that when it comes to the fact that you're, eating a meal, right, and you're guessing, right, in terms of the components of it and stuff like that, well, naturally, obviously, the meat's going to be cooked, right? So this is when you're going to have to then guess. So obviously, say for example, you're like, yep, that looks like 150 grams of cooked chicken breast. Rather than enter it as 150 grams raw, you would enter it maybe as like 170, for example, to cater for the cooking process. See what I mean? And obviously, you'd cater for some oil, so you put a teaspoon of oil or some olive oil spray, little things like that, just to make sure that you're all on point. Now, let's say for example that you had some pasta, right? What you've got to be really careful of is making sure that you read the label as to, like, obviously when you scan it, to make sure that you're on point with knowing, because some pastas, the nutritional information and stuff that's on the back of the pack is relevant to it being its dry weight, whereas for some, it's also the opposite, where it's like it only shows you, it shows you the nutritional content for its cooked weight, okay? So make sure you're on point there. But, the rule of thumb is to always try and weigh foods, especially if you can't look at something and just guesstimate how much it weighs. And ideally, as best possible, always weigh things raw. Now, one of the things we're going to be looking at now is, let's say, for example, that you're going out to maybe like, a franchise-based place, like, let's say, for example, McDonald's, right? If we look here, McDonald's has pretty much got their whole fucking menu on MyFitnessPal, right? Which is crazy. If we do the same for, let's say, for example, Nando's, right? Same sort of deal, Nando's gains for days. Let's say, for example, Ben and Jerry's, right? Bazinga, Ben and Jerry's is all on here as well, fuck me. Let's say, for example, we want to go to Grilled, which is a great healthy burger place. We can go into Grilled, there we go, the whole shoot and caboodle is on here as well. So this is where, when it comes to eating out, this is where actually when it comes to going to franchises, it can actually be quite, well, easy for tracking purposes to actually go to somewhere that is a franchise, because obviously the whole entire menu is on MyFitnessPal. If I was going to Grilled, for example, I would probably get the Simon Says. That's a really nice burger, 560 calories, right? Bazinga. Because it's naturally high in protein and fairly low for a burger. But something to note is that, let's say, for example, that you regularly go to a place like Grilled or whatever, right? And let's say that you go to like a diner, right? And obviously their menu isn't on MyFitnessPal, but you had a burger that looked kind of like a Simon Says, well then you can just log it as a Simon Says, or little things like that, which is why You know, one of the many reasons what makes MyFitnessPal quite awesome. Now, one of the hacks that I encourage you to utilize, especially in the early days of your journey, is to plan ahead, right? So let's say, for example, that we're going to delete all of this. So we're going to go bam, bam. We're going to delete, 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 right? So we've got a blank diary and boom. So on the day that I'm filming this, it's a Saturday, right? So let's say, for example, that for tomorrow, right, I want to plan ahead because I want to make sure that I can have an epic day. So let's say that I'm going out for dinner, right? Let's say we're going out for some Nando's, right? Bazinga, and I want to have some tenderloins, and I want to have some coleslaw, right? See that? Multi-add. I've been able to select 2 items, boom, right? And for my drink, I'm going to have a Coke Zero because I don't want to waste my calories. So Coke Zero's obviously got nothing, right? Well, all these got nothing anyway, so let's just say that we're having a can. So we'll go like this, can, Bazinga, 0, cool. All right, so there we go. I now know that my dinner is gonna be 501 calories. And if I go onto here, I can also see that it's got 44 grams of protein, which is fairly solid, right? So obviously it's in the morning, right? Or on this sort of occasion, it's a Saturday and I'm planning ahead for tomorrow. Now, what this then means is that, let's say for example, that I want to make sure that I can maximize the rest of my intake during the day. Well, now I know I've got something to look forward to. Let's say that I want to have something for dessert. Let's say I want to have some Nutella, not 100 grams though. Let's say that I want to have maybe 40 grams, whoops, 0.4, easy done, right? So let's say, and then I want to have maybe some ice cream, right? Let's say I want to have some Halo Top, right? Which you can get from Coles or Woolies at the moment. It's really nice. Let's say that I want to have, there we go. So you want to be careful of this serve, right? Let's say I want to have a container, which is the whole thing, right? So this is me, I've planned ahead, right? I know I want to have some Nando's for some dinner, and for dessert, I want to have a pint of Halo Top with some Nutella. Now, what that then means is, as you can see, I've got 1,890 calories left to play with for during the day. Now, in your case, let's say that your intake is 1,800, right? Well then, what, 498 plus 501, so that would leave you with about 800 calories to use during the day, which you could, you know, do, it's doable, but you probably would just have maybe no breakfast or a very small one, and then, you know, some salad and some meat for lunch, maybe a smoothie for the afternoon, and then boom, you're laughing, right? But the power here is that by you being diligent in tracking ahead, it allows you to kind of, well, track backwards, because it's like you now know exactly what you've got left to look forward to at the end of the day, and therefore can be proactive in terms of making food choices for during the day, right? Now, this doesn't only just apply for when you're eating out, it can be for when you're just planning ahead for the following day and wanting to see how everything looks, which I'd encourage you to do. You should always track before you've eaten something, not eat something and then, you know, track it, be like, oh shit, whoops, that's got heaps of calories, whatever, it sent me over. Like, you should always be diligent in planning ahead or tracking before you've eaten, ideally. Now, what we're gonna look at here is we're gonna go back to the nutrient section, okay? Now, in terms of obviously with you and your goals, you know, like if you're fresh to the mix of coaching with me or a program with me, well then most of the time the focus is that we're not looking at carbs or fat ratios and stuff like that until later down the track, but initially we're focusing on calories and protein, and that being the focus. So what that then means is that something that you're not going to be focusing on at all is sugar. Reason being is that, well, who gives a shit, right? We're obviously led to believe that sugar is the devil, and that if we eat heaps of it, then we're going to die or we're going to get rotten teeth or whatever, right? But you want to know what's interesting, right, is that the health guidelines are to not have any more than 25 grams of sugar a day. But if you were to have, say, for example, a mango, right, a mango itself has got more than 25 grams of sugar. And, you know, mangoes are considered clean, so it's like, you see what I mean? Like, it's just silly. And for you to be able to eat enough sugar to be able to cause the negative damage that it's apparently going to cause, like, good luck to even do it, right? Like, even I would struggle with that, yeah? Now, what else you're not going to pay attention to is basically everything that's below here. We don't give a shit about any of this sort of stuff. I never want you to even look at it, right? Because it doesn't really mean anything. Obviously, if you're focusing on getting in enough fiber, right, this tells us that we're getting in enough baseline micronutrition to keep you healthy. Enough protein is obviously going to ensure that we're looking after you from a protein synthesis point of view and making sure that enough amino acids are coming into your system to look after your muscles. Carbs are for performance, and fat is obviously for good hormones. Now, one of the things I'd encourage that you do is that you utilize, let's say for example, like one of the things that I find people usually whinge about is just like, oh Angus, like I'm not really creative in the kitchen or whatever, or oh Angus, like I struggle getting enough protein. Let's say that it's protein, right? So type in high protein recipe, right? Easy as this, right? Like come on Google, here we go, right? Let's go browse healthy high protein recipes, right? Now, obviously I don't want you to have to rely on whey protein or having a protein shake or whatever if you struggle to hit your protein. We really want to make sure that we are, you know, so that we're making health conscious choices where we're using food to meet our goals. Now, as you can see here, that looks fucking awesome. What's that? That's paleo pumpkin pie, right? What else have we got here? That looks nice. What's this? 20 sugar-free treats for the festive season. That looks yum as well. Oh, look at all this shit. Seriously, hey? Look at that paleo cherry, right? Awesome sausages, superfood stuff, vegetarian, right? And this is just the first thing we tried. Let's look at something else. Let's go down here. 18 high protein recipes from realsimple.com, hey? As you can see, I'm winging this because I want to show you how easy it can be to just be proactive and have a look, right? What do they got here? That looks nice. Bean salad with bacon and chives. Fuck yeah. Nice. And then these shitty ads. What else they got here? Pork cutlets with sauteed peppers and beans. You see what I mean? So it's like literally the power of being creative is as much in your court as anything else, right? You can choose to make this as boring or as awesome as you want. Like let's say for example that you wanted to even, you know, go for like some lean, no, what is it? Like U Foods or whatever. Like even all their shit is in here as well, see? Meaning that, hey, like if you're really that strapped for time, you can even get amongst some of that meal delivery stuff. But I'd encourage you as best you can is that you cook your own stuff, so that way not only are you saving money, but you're learning how to just make food as part of your life across the board, okay? So there are many other cool ways you can use MyFitnessPal, but the best learning will come for you from actually utilizing it. It's kind of like you could easily read or watch or whatever a course to learn how to drive a car, but the real, obviously, magic is gonna come from you getting in the car, right, and driving it on multiple sort of scenarios, right, because that's you in the trenches and learning how to drive the car. Same here with MyFitnessPal. So I'd encourage you to, like, we never want to feel like we're just, you know, like upset, like OCD about making sure everything's perfect within MyFitnessPal and whatever. Like this is about just enjoying it and sort of seeing MyFitnessPal as if it's kind of like a sidekick for you, right? You're fucking, you know, let's say that you're, you know, you're Batman, right? And that MyFitnessPal is your Robin. It's there to help you to be able to take down the bad guys, which in this case is fat, and get you lean, right? So make it yours. Make sure that if you ever get stuck with MyFitnessPal, right, check back into this section where there's other tutorials about how to do some other cool hack type stuff, but you just completed the basics in terms of the setup and the tutorial of MyFitnessPal, so big hats off to you, legend. Well done. If you have any questions at any stage, make sure that you ask me personally or post in the members group. And yeah, looking forward to seeing you crush it and make MyFitnessPal a part of your life. Catch you next time.